Thank you for being part of this journey. Celebrating 2 decades of Pacific stories. Brought to you by the Secretariat of the Pacific Community. Kia ora, noa ea, a very warm welcome to the Pacific Way. In the small island kingdom of Tonga, the Secretariat of the Pacific Community is working alongside the national government and local communities to strengthen the nation's resilience to climate change and disaster. Let's head to Kolonga village on Tongatapu and pay a visit to Homa on the neighbouring island of Eua to discover how this project is making a difference in these communities.
In the Pacific Island Kingdom of Tonga, serious efforts are underway to lessen the impact of coastal erosion and increase community resilience to climate variability and change. One such effort is the European Union-funded Global Climate Change Alliance Pacific Small Island States GCCA PSIS project, currently being implemented by the Government of Tonga with assistance from the Secretariat of the Pacific Community, SPC. It aims to strengthen the capacity of the Ministry of Environment, Energy, Climate Change, Disaster Management, Meteorology, Information and Communication, and the Ministry of Infrastructure and Transport to design and construct effective coastal protection measures.
Future sea level rise threatens the continued viability of low-lying coastal villages in Tonga. The GCCA PSIS project is designed to buy more time for vulnerable communities by trialing different coastal protection engineering methods to ease erosion pressures and reinforce the existing shoreline. One of the major highlights of the GCCA PSIS project in Tonga is the design and the construction of the coastal protection measures. These are projected to build a resilience of 3,367 people living in 566 properties across 6 coastal villages in eastern Tongatapu. Community consultation plays a crucial role in each development phase of the project. Local residents are provided with information about each stage in the process, and their feedback and support is crucial for the success of this project. The main stages include the assessment and identification of the sites, a feasibility study, and the environmental impact assessment, determining of the project design and the proposed construction, and involving the various community groups in the monitoring of the effectiveness of the project innovations once it's implemented.
The Global Climate Change Alliance project, of course, it assists with the building of the community and also the institutional experience and knowledge in addressing the coastal management issues. This formulation of this coastal management plan will be used as a good model for development of future coastal management plan for the other islands in Tonga Island Group and also in the Pacific Island countries, this will be a good model. This coastal management plan will assist the government to move away from a piecemeal approach to a more coordinated and integrated approach to coastal management. But this is one of the critical aspects of this project is the engagement of the community, right from the beginning, from the planning phase, the designing phase, and even up to the actual implementation, and even to the monitoring of the success of the projects. Community, the engagement and the direct involvement of the community is really, really important.
Evaluations of the GCCA PSIS project interventions along with the coastal management plan will feed the Asian Development Bank strategic program for climate resilience, a new project funded through the climate change investment funds mechanism. Coordination between these projects will leverage maximum profit from the coastal protection measures trialed by Global Climate Change Alliance Pacific Small Island States project.
The GCCA PSIS project is engaging community groups, schools and tertiary institutions to raise stakeholder awareness and understanding of its coastal management interventions. This provides context so that people may understand how their communities are affected by changes in the environment, the potential for action to address these, and the involvement of development partners in this process, in this case the European Union through SPC.
Nga ko nu fa ko me fa si sia ngon ya ko tai nga ko la mai ta wa ko tai me ma no fa ye ni na ma kai tai no pe ya ko ha ko ma tang ko ne ho ko mai ko nga ko ni pa ko nge ma fi ma ri ta ku la va fa lo la pa te fa lo to lai ka te ma to e mau to no fo pe mau ngai api ngai ta milai ko ne hoko ko ngai matang fa natula mau hiki mau to ku ma fetu ke mau ke no ke ai ka ti os fa mare to ko mare ai matangi ma to fo ki mai no fo mau api
ka we mo tuani e fo tua e fetu uni o la ka ke ni ta o ono fultup pe e manat meri ke ko hiri na mau no fo na lahi au pito ha mau matatai ka me bango ko hu hoko mai a feriuri wak I he fama mani lahi ki he atakai mo li riu ki he ea pe ko albe tai mi mo no teke mai ho mau ki fonua ke mau fo tua pe he hala pureanga pe he au mai ai tokoni ko ni o we mau amanaki lere e toi lawa ke whakafoki ne au hei kai lawa whakafoki kakato. Kai lawa ke toi whakafoki ai whanua ke atu unga o whakawhia maari e pia maluangi ai hanga o e mau nofo I he ki wheituoni. Whakamalo lahi au pito ki he iu, he nau whakapaanga, o nau hanga o whakatokangai, na ho tau whaingata a I he whanua.
The trialling of coastal protection mechanisms and development of an integrated coastal management plan in Tongatapu are increasing the capacity of the national government to address these challenges associated with climate change. The GCCA PSIS project is making a far-reaching contribution to help the people of Tonga on their journey toward a more resilient future.
Welcome back to the Pacific Way. The Pacific Sea Level Monitoring Network consists of monitoring facilities in 12 countries across the Pacific. This next video shows how sea level monitoring stations work and why they're important for the region. Let's find out more.
The Pacific region is made up of many small islands in the sun, scattered across the world's largest ocean. It is home to over 10 million people, most of whom live and work along the coasts. As such, the majority of socioeconomic activity and development takes place in coastal zones. These areas are also where the islands are most vulnerable. Coasts are prone to erosion and inundation from storm surges, swells, king tides, and sea level rise. It is important for Pacific Islands to better understand the dynamics of the oceans and tides. The critical tools used to gather this information are called sea level monitoring stations. Although they may not be well known or understood, these stations provide an important service to Pacific Islanders. This station is one of 13 erected and maintained across the region under the Australian government-funded Pacific Sea Level Monitoring Project.
The Sea Level project started in Australia around 1990 and continued on in the South Pacific when the Prime Minister at the time, Bob Hawke, was visiting Pacific Forum seminar, and Bob Hawke at the time offered the services of Flinders University, who was doing a similar network analysing climate change around Australia, and so then that opened up the scope of the program to the South Pacific.
The project works in partnership with the Australian Bureau of Meteorology's Climate and Ocean Support Program, Geoscience Australia, Pacific Island governments, and the Secretariat of the Pacific Community's Applied Geoscience and Technology Division, SOPAC. Almost all of the 13 sea level monitoring stations have been collecting vital data for over 20 years, information that can greatly impact the development aspirations of Pacific Island countries and territories.
A lot of the countries are essential coastal entities, so you are really never more than a few hundred meters away from the sea. So anything you do in the coastal zone is dictated by the water level. So if we want to undertake any development in the Pacific Islands, then we need to have a knowledge of how the water level can affect the land in critical extreme events. So if countries have aspirations and they want to build a new power station or hospital or roads, public infrastructure, then it's very likely that this is going to be built in the coastal zone. So we need to protect and design this critical infrastructure to withstand extreme forces, and they often come from the land. So we use the information from the tide gauge to help us design buildings and design infrastructure in the coastal zone.
Okay, so this is our third sea level sensor. It's a microwave radar system.
Stami Kritikos is the Logistics and Installation Manager with the Observation Network Upgrade Project, ONUP, and is responsible for the upgrade of all the sea level sites around the Pacific. He explains how the stations work.
Predominantly it is a sea level monitoring station, so it monitors the level of the sea with 3 different sensors. We have an acoustic sensor called an AcroTrack, which is a very old technology, but all the climate records were done with that, and so therefore we have maintained that transducer. We've also have another sensor which is a pressure sensor which sits under the water, and the water above it is a pressure, and therefore it can detect how much water there is above it. And we have a radar which is a new one that it has been introduced in the last few years, and it uses a microwave technology to bounce a signal off the surface of the water. Well, they back each other up in a way. Now with the radar, of course, we have, with improved communication systems, we have 1-minute transmissions from the station back to head office in Melbourne, so we're able to see events in real time, pretty close to real time, whereas before it was hourly.
The sensors are connected to data logging equipment housed in the sea level monitoring hut. Once all the data is logged, it is sent to Australia for analysis via satellite link.
This is the comms Trident, and most of the communications, all of the communications gear is here. We have over on the far end there is the BGAN terminal, which is the real-time data back into head office in Melbourne.
Upgrade to the tide stations provides us with real-time information, so we're able to access any of the tide gauges in the Pacific and are able to monitor in real time any events, and of course these include extreme events such as tsunamis. And later on we are able to take this information and put it into computer models to enable us to calibrate these models and then also use the models to come up with hazard maps. So for example, for more severe tsunamis, we might be able to derive evacuation plans, and all this really relies on the information that's collected by the tide gauges.
The Pacific Sea Level Monitoring Network is the only monitoring system of its kind in the Pacific region. From the updating of navigational charts that guide ships into harbour, to government decisions and policy making, to everyday weather forecasts, tide gauges are proven useful tools for all sectors of society.
We use the tide calendar for our daily weather forecast, that we insert the tide prediction in our forecast, and also to see ahead and planning what are the peak tide, high tide, and we mention that to the public that for information, and also for us to know if there are any disturbance or any pressure system developed nearby, and so to give us an idea to that, and if they coincide with the king tide, then it would be something else. And so to keep that in mind, that we inform the public right in advance.
It's always good to have your own data at the national level, your specific country data, and also people are already noticing the different level of the sea, especially like during king tides. So it triggers people to asking, is the sea level really rising? So to only give an answer to the public, we rely on the data, but we are fortunate that we have a tide gauge here that gives us reliable data on sea level rise, and we rely on the data that's provided by the Met Service.
It's very important in the community, especially with fishermen, because fishermen, they are the one who provide food for the community, but if they don't know anything about tide, so it will be a problem for them. So the information of tide, and also for ladies who want to collect shells from sea or from the sand or from the beach, they should know all this information so they can do their work and wait until they know what time is the low tide, what time is the high tide, so they can also do the activities on the beach, or to catch some fish from the coral, or to catch some fish from the ocean.
The Pacific Sea Level Monitoring Stations provide more than just information. They are critical tools to understanding how water levels change in the ocean and how these variations impact on the lives of Pacific Islanders, enabling us to adapt and develop with resilience.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. Now, to find out more about tonight's stories or the Pacific Way, look for us on YouTube and on Facebook. Until next time, tofa, sapo. Thank you for being part of this journey. Celebrating 2 decades of Pacific stories. Brought to you by the Secretariat of the Pacific Community.